For centuries, the samurai have stood as Japan's stoic defenders, revered as much for their unyielding honor as for their deadly precision. These warriors, garbed in ornate armor and wielding swords with unmatched expertise, have captured the imaginations of people across the globe. Yet beneath the polished myth of the noble samurai lies a far more intricate and multifaceted story. This narrative delves into the very origins of the samurai, tracing their evolution through Japan's tumultuous history, and uncovering the indelible imprint they have left on the fabric of Japanese culture. The tale of the samurai begins in the midst of Japan's Heian period, roughly in the 8th century. At a time when the imperial court in Kyoto struggled to extend its authority over the remote provinces, local landowners, fearful of lawlessness and threats from rival clans, turned to an emerging class of warriors for protection. These warriors, who began as mere defenders of estates from bandits, would eventually forge a new and distinct identity: the samurai. The early samurai were, in essence, mounted archers, heavily influenced by the military strategies of their neighbors, China and Korea. But as time wore on and their role in society evolved, so too did their methods of combat, crafting a distinctly Japanese way of war, a blend of precision, discipline, and deadly artistry. By the late Heian period, the samurai had evolved far beyond their humble origins as mere estate defenders. No longer confined to the role of protectors, they began to wield significant influence in the political arenas of Japan, gradually supplanting the aristocracy. The once disjointed clans of regional warlords coalesced into powerful, formidable families, like the Taira and Minamoto, whose rivalry ignited the bloody and brutal Genpei War. The aftermath of this conflict saw the Minamoto clan emerge victorious, and in 1192 they established the Kamakura shogunate, a seismic shift that heralded the dawn of Japan's feudal era. Yet, it was not just the battlefield that defined the samurai, it was their unwavering devotion to Bushido, the way of the warrior. This code was not merely a set of rules. It was the very fabric of their being. At its heart lay ideals such as honor, loyalty, courage, and self-discipline, virtues that transcended the clash of swords and permeated every facet of samurai life. Bushido governed not only the conduct of the samurai in combat, but also their interactions with others, their approach to hardship, and even their moments of peace. It was an all-encompassing philosophy, shaping the samurai's very identity, and through them, leaving an indelible mark on the culture of Japan for centuries to come. To falter in the strict code of Bushido was to dishonor not only oneself, but one's entire lineage. For a samurai who had strayed from the path of virtue, the ultimate penance was seppuku, a ritual suicide performed to restore one's lost honor. This brutal act was more than just an end to life. It was a solemn declaration, a painful yet deliberate reaffirmation of the samurai's unyielding commitment to their code. Often carried out in the presence of fellow samurai, seppuku was a public spectacle, a powerful, harrowing reminder of the weight of reputation, of the ever-present pressure to maintain integrity and honor in the face of any failure. As centuries passed, the samurai's role evolved in dramatic ways. What began as a warrior class in service to local lords slowly morphed into the ruling elite of Japan. By the 12th century, the samurai had risen to become the dominant political force, securing their place as the masters of the land. The Kamakura shogunate marked a pivotal moment in history, as it established the first military government ruled by samurai, a shift that would set the tone for the feudal age that followed. But the samurai's challenges were not merely internal. They faced fierce external threats as well. Among the most famous of these were the invasions of Japan by the Mongol hordes under Kublai Khan. Despite being vastly outnumbered, the samurai held their ground, their courage and skill in battle tested like never before. And when the Mongol fleets were battered by violent typhoons, the Japanese came to see these storms as divine intervention, kamikaze, or divine winds, further reinforcing the samurai's belief in their righteous cause. The collapse of the Kamakura shogunate heralded a time of turmoil and upheaval, yet the samurai, steadfast and resolute, managed to hold on to their prominence in the midst of it all. The Ashikaga shogunate, which followed, was a paradoxical era though marked by political instability. It also witnessed an extraordinary flourishing of culture, with advancements in the arts and architecture. But this brief period of cultural enlightenment was a mere blip in Japan's otherwise fractured political landscape, one that would soon give rise to the tumultuous Sengoku period. In this age of unrelenting warfare, rival daimyo powerful warlords battled fiercely for dominance, carving the land into warring fiefdoms and pushing the samurai to their very limits. It was amidst this chaotic maelstrom that towering figures like Oda Nobunaga, Toyotomi Hideyoshi, and Tokugawa Ieyasu emerged, each playing a pivotal role in shaping Japan's future. Oda Nobunaga, with his brutal, visionary strategies and unrelenting drive for power, was instrumental in dismantling the anarchy of the Sengoku period. His death, however, did little to halt the forward march of history. Toyotomi Hideyoshi, a general-turned-ruler, carried on Nobunaga's work, implementing sweeping reforms that brought some semblance of order and stability to the fractured country. But it was Tokugawa Ieyasu, the final architect of unification, who cemented his legacy after his resounding victory at the Battle of Sekigahara in 1600. His triumph shattered the ambitions of his rivals, and with it, the Tokugawa shogunate was born. This marked the beginning of the Edo period, an era of relative peace, prosperity, and isolation that would endure for over 2 centuries, forever altering the course of Japan's history. As the Edo period unfolded, the samurai's role underwent a profound transformation. No longer summoned to the heat of battle, many samurai found new purpose in the corridors of power, shifting from warriors to administrators, scholars, and bureaucrats. Yet, despite this dramatic shift in their duties, their adherence to Bushido remained unwavering. The samurai of the Edo era were still expected to embody the virtues of honor, integrity, and discipline, serving as paragons of moral conduct in a society that was, for the most part, at peace. Their very existence was a reminder of a bygone age of warfare, a legacy of the relentless pursuit of righteousness, even in times of stability. The Edo period was, in many ways, a golden age for the arts and culture in Japan, and the samurai were integral to this cultural renaissance. With their newfound roles as scholars and patrons of the arts, they immersed themselves in literature, calligraphy, and poetry, contributing to the intellectual vibrancy of the time. But perhaps no cultural pursuit was more intimately tied to the samurai than the tea ceremony. What began as a simple ritual soon blossomed into a symbol of elegance, discipline, and mindfulness, where every gesture, every movement, was infused with meaning. The samurai not only refined the ceremony's intricate practices, but also saw it as an embodiment of Bushido, an art form that mirrored the warrior's quest for inner peace and self-mastery. Further shaping their philosophy, Zen Buddhism had a lasting influence on the samurai of the Edo period. The practice of meditation and mindfulness became not just spiritual exercises, but tools for maintaining mental clarity, focus, and composure. Through Zen, the samurai found a path to achieve inner calm, seeking the tranquility necessary to navigate both the quietude of the peacetime world and the storms of their own inner conflicts. The Edo period thus became a paradoxical time, a peaceful era, yet one where the samurai's ancient virtues and philosophies adapted, evolved, and thrived in new, profound ways. Despite their elevated status, the lives of samurai were far from without struggle. Beneath the veneer of honor and prestige, many lower-ranking samurai faced crippling financial hardship. Their stipends, while steady, were often woefully inadequate to support their families, particularly as the years wore on. By the later years of the Edo period, this economic strain had become acute, as Japan's isolationist policies stifled trade and hampered economic growth. For the samurai, whose sense of worth was tightly bound to their rank and their ability to maintain dignity. This financial precariousness added a new layer of tension to their already demanding lives. The arrival of Western powers in the mid-19th century signaled a seismic shift in Japan's history, and with it, the beginning of the end for the samurai. The external pressure to open Japan to the world, coupled with internal unrest, catalyzed the Meiji Restoration of 1868, a radical overhaul of Japan's political system. The feudal structure, which had been in place for centuries, crumbled, and with it, the samurai's privileged position in society. For many, this was a catastrophic loss. Some samurai, ever adaptable, sought to align themselves with the new government, joining the ranks of the modernized military or assuming bureaucratic roles in the rapidly changing state. Others, however, found themselves adrift in a world that seemed to have little place for their ancient skills and ideals. In the face of an industrialized, Western-influenced Japan, the samurai struggled to navigate their relevance in an era that demanded not the sword, but the pen, the factory, and the machine. Their once unshakable place in Japanese society had all but vanished, leaving them to reckon with a new, uncertain future. Although the samurai class was officially abolished, their legacy proved to be far more resilient than the political systems that sought to erase them. The ideals of Bushido, the warrior code that once governed their lives, continued to echo through the corridors of Japan's modern military ethos, shaping its core values of honor, duty, and discipline. But the samurai's influence did not stop at the barracks. As Japan rapidly industrialized and modernized, many former samurai families, adapting to the changing times, played pivotal roles in the nation's transformation, becoming influential figures in business, politics, and the burgeoning industrial sector. In a world increasingly driven by technology and progress, the samurai's enduring ethos of perseverance and self-discipline continued to guide Japan's forward march. Today, the samurai remain emblematic of Japan's rich historical tapestry and cultural heritage. Their stories, once grounded in the blood and dust of battle, have been immortalized in literature, film, and art, ensuring that their spirit is not lost to the passage of time. The samurai's legacy thrives in the works of legendary filmmakers like Akira Kurosawa, whose films painted the samurai's code in shades of honor and tragedy, as well as in countless novels, manga, and other forms of popular culture. From the pages of fiction to the silver screen, the tales of these warriors continue to captivate audiences around the globe, their timeless ideals of courage, loyalty, and self-mastery still resonating with those who seek meaning in a complex and ever-changing world. Beyond their martial prowess, the samurai were renowned for their iconic armor and weaponry, symbols of both their status and their deadly efficiency. Samurai armor, known as yoroi, was a stunning fusion of practicality and artistry. Made from lacquered metal plates, meticulously woven together with silk cords, the armor was designed not only for protection, but also for agility. This intricate design allowed the samurai to move with remarkable swiftness in battle, combining the flexibility needed for close combat with the durable protection necessary to survive the chaos of war. The kabuto, or helmet, was a particularly striking feature of samurai armor, often adorned with elaborate crests or decorative elements that represented the samurai's clan, serving as both a personal symbol and a marker of their warrior lineage. However, it was the katana, the sword, that truly epitomized the samurai's essence. The katana was no mere weapon. It was a masterpiece of craftsmanship, forged through a painstaking process that involved folding and hammering the steel over and over, refining it with each strike. This meticulous process created a blade that was not only exceptionally sharp but also durable and resilient, capable of withstanding the rigors of battle. To the samurai, the katana was far more than a tool for war. It was an extension of their soul. Revered with the utmost respect, the katana embodied the warrior's spirit and honor, with many samurai viewing their swords as sacred objects, imbued with both power and a deep, almost spiritual significance. While the samurai class was largely dominated by men, women too held their ground in a society defined by warriors. The Onibugeisha, or female warriors, were trained in the martial arts, learning the same skills as their male counterparts to protect their homes and families. These women were not merely passive bystanders in the samurai world. They actively participated in defense and, in some cases, even led troops into battle. Figures like Tomogozen stand as powerful testaments to the courage, skill, and resilience of female samurai. Known for her prowess on the battlefield, Tomogozen defied the typical roles assigned to women, carving a legacy that highlighted the often overlooked contributions of women to the samurai tradition. The samurai were not defined by their combat skills alone. Their philosophical and spiritual outlook set them apart from many other warrior classes. Deeply influenced by the principles of Shinto and Zen Buddhism, the samurai cultivated a mindset that embraced the impermanence of life and the inevitability of death. This acceptance of mortality allowed them to face danger with a unique kind of calm and resolve. It was in this space of acceptance that the samurai embodied the ideal of the warrior poet, able to confront life's most harrowing realities with not only courage but an understanding that death was not to be feared, but acknowledged as a natural part of existence. This spiritual awareness elevated the samurai beyond mere warriors, making them philosophers and artists in their own right, fully aware of the fleeting nature of life, but resolute in their dedication to live honorably. As Japan underwent its rapid modernization, the influence of the samurai extended far beyond the battlefield. With the fall of the feudal system and the rise of the Meiji Restoration, many former samurai sought to adapt to the changing world, embracing new roles in a society that was transforming at breakneck speed. Some became educators, passing on their wisdom and discipline to the next generation, while others ventured into the world of industry and politics, playing pivotal roles in shaping Japan's trajectory into the 20th century. Their deep-seated values of honor, duty, and self-discipline found a new place in the modern world, continuing to resonate even as Japan shed its old traditions in favor of a more industrialized, westernized identity. But the legacy of the samurai extends far beyond their contributions to governance and the arts. Their involvement in the very fabric of Japanese society helped lay the groundwork for much of the nation's future. Samurai played a crucial role in land management, overseeing agricultural production and ensuring the flow of resources that would support Japan's growing economy. Their methods and organizational structures laid an early framework for the agricultural economy that would sustain Japan for centuries to come. Additionally, the samurai's patronage of the arts is still felt today. Many samurai were ardent sponsors of artists, poets, and artisans, helping to cultivate the cultural richness that has defined Japan's artistic legacy. These works, whether in literature, painting, or ceramics, continue to be celebrated for their beauty and intricacy, preserving the spirit of the samurai in Japan's artistic and cultural heritage long after their swords were sheathed. In periods of peace, when the clash of swords was absent from the land, the samurai turned their focus inward, cultivating not only their martial skills, but also their intellectual and artistic talents. Samurai were encouraged to study philosophy, martial strategy, and literature, honing their minds as rigorously as they trained their bodies. Poetry, particularly the elegant haiku, became an esteemed pursuit among the samurai. The haiku's concise, evocative nature allowed warriors to express their reflections on nature, life, and the impermanence of existence, a perfect complement to the stoic acceptance of mortality that defined the samurai ethos. This blending of martial discipline and artistic refinement created a uniquely well-rounded warrior class, one that valued both physical strength and intellectual depth, embodying the ideal of the warrior poet. The samurai's impact on Japanese culture is perhaps most visible in the grandeur of their castles, architectural marvels that stand as symbols of both power and strategic genius. Castles like Himeji and Matsumoto, with their towering stone walls, intricate layouts, and elegant design, were not only military fortresses, but also centers of administration and governance. These structures reflected the samurai's deep understanding of strategy and defense, with their moats, arrow slits, and fortified walls meticulously designed to withstand sieges and protect their inhabitants. Each castle was a microcosm of samurai life, blending military might with governance, culture, and authority, leaving behind enduring symbols of the samurai's legacy that continue to stand proud to this day. The 16th century heralded a transformative shift in the way samurai fought, as the introduction of firearms, brought by Portuguese traders, altered the landscape of warfare in Japan. Initially met with skepticism and resistance, many samurai saw the gun as an unworthy tool for a warrior. Eventually, the strategic value of firearms could not be ignored. Samurai leaders began to incorporate muskets into their arsenals, and the results were undeniable. A prime example of this shift in tactics came during the Battle of Nagashino in 1575. Oda Nobunaga, a visionary military strategist, deployed an innovative use of muskets to devastating effect, decisively defeating the Takeda cavalry and shifting the balance of power in the region. The gun, once seen as a novelty, became a cornerstone of samurai warfare, forever altering the nature of battle in Japan. Even as samurai warfare evolved, the philosophical legacy of Bushido, the way of the warrior, continued to resonate deeply within Japanese society, influencing not only military conduct but also the broader cultural fabric of the nation. As Japan entered its rapid industrialization during the late 19th and early 20th centuries, the values of discipline, loyalty, and perseverance, core tenets of Bushido, became integral to the nation's ethos. These ideals were instilled in both education and business, shaping the mindset of a society determined to rise as a modern power. As Japan transitioned from a feudal system to an industrialized, imperial state, the samurai's influence lived on, contributing significantly to the nation's economic growth and the development of its distinctive work ethic. In this way, the samurai's cultural legacy continued to propel Japan forward, even as the nation embraced the challenges of modernization. Though the samurai as a distinct class may have faded from the pages of history, their spirit, one of discipline, honor, and resilience, continues to inspire martial artists around the globe. Traditional Japanese martial arts such as kendo, judo, and aikido trace their roots directly back to samurai training methods, preserving the core principles of samurai combat. These disciplines go beyond mere physical prowess, requiring practitioners to cultivate mental discipline, focus, and ethical conduct, values deeply embedded in the samurai way of life. The samurai spirit lives on through these arts, passed down through generations, shaping not only the body but the mind and soul of those who practice them. Moreover, the samurai's legacy has transcended time and geography, leaving an indelible mark on modern popular culture. Whether on the silver screen, in television series, video games, or novels, the image of the samurai as noble, virtuous warriors bound by a strict code of honor continues to captivate audiences worldwide. Their stories have been immortalized in countless forms of entertainment, often serving as allegories for honor, duty, and sacrifice. Iconic characters inspired by samurai history, like those portrayed in Akira Kurosawa's films or the stories woven into graphic novels and video games, remain central to both Japanese and global cultural narratives. In this way, the samurai, though no longer a dominant class, continue to shape the imagination of audiences across the world, ensuring that their legacy endures in the modern age. In recent years, there has been a growing movement to preserve the rich heritage of the samurai, ensuring that their legacy is not lost to time. Museums dedicated to samurai history, historical reenactments, and cultural festivals offer an immersive look into the lives of these legendary warriors, drawing visitors from across the globe. These efforts serve to educate the public about the samurai's profound impact on Japanese history, culture, and society, reminding us that their influence reaches far beyond the battlefield. In conclusion, the samurai were far more than just warriors. They were the architects of Japan's history, shaping its culture, governance, and identity in ways that continue to resonate today. Through centuries of conflict, transition, and transformation, their ideals and practices endured, leaving behind a legacy that remains a testament to their indomitable spirit. Whether through the glorified depictions in popular culture or the meticulous study of historical records, the samurai continue to inspire, captivate, and influence, standing as symbols of honor, discipline, and resilience that transcend time and borders. For those captivated by the samurai and the world they inhabited, this journey through history is but a glimpse into the depths of their profound influence. The legacy of these warrior poets, bound by a code that transcended the very boundaries of life and death, continues to resonate, offering timeless lessons on honor, duty, and discipline. If you enjoyed this deep dive into the history of the samurai, make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the bell icon for more explorations into the most fascinating chapters of history. Until next time, keep uncovering the past.